Hi, everybody. I'm Miss Fester. I'm the school social worker at Spanaway Lake High School. I have a special guest today for my first staff interview, Mr. Hildebrand. I'm so excited to have you here. It's been so long.
It's been so long. I miss you so much. It's been like 6 months since I've seen you in person, and that is
I
not
know.
okay. I'm very
I
upset.
miss our morning hugs, like when we
We were,
meet in the parking lot at the same time, we arrive at the same time. It's like a
I,
morning hug, and you
so
go upstairs and then I go downstairs.
yeah, and I love that that the universe was just like, no, you're gonna run into each other in the parking lot. So like at least once a week.
At least that was minimum once a week.
It was so.
Minimum.
Again, I'm hearing my cat go crazy. She is on
Look at,
her. Can you see
oh,
she's on her
hi,
little win?
kitty. What's the kitty's name?
Her name is Minnie, which is short for Minerva, who is the Roman goddess of wisdom.
Oh my gosh,
And Megan,
Roman goddess of
also
wisdom.
a very clever character, but it's fine.
Oh, I love that. All right. Well, Minnie may decide to join us a little bit later and jump in and out.
She is an attention seeker, so she definitely.
She probably will. That's totally fine. All right. Well, I invited Mr. Hildebrand here to talk with us just so that we can get to know him a little bit. Some of you will have him in class and some of you won't. So I just wanted to ask him some questions and see what he has to say, and we'll go from there. So what do you teach at Spanaway Lake High School?
Yes, so currently I'm teaching ELA 9, so I teach ninth grade English, which I absolutely love. It is
Yeah.
the most fun. And then I also teach theater, which is also the most fun. So basically, I've got the most fun job in the building.
Yes.
Uh, so that's, yeah, so I teach those things, but however, also in the fall, I'm teaching creative writing for a hot minute. So that'll be,
Ooh, that's fun.
yeah, because teaching theater online is hard and we're not doing it. So we're teaching.
Just a little hard. I can't imagine doing play productions through Zoom, but
I After this, Miss Fester, we'll talk because I've got a plan and I'm excited about it.
oh, okay. I'm excited about that. So, how long have you been at Spanaway Lake then?
I'm going into my third year here.
Yay.
Honestly so excited. It is. I talked to other friends of mine who work in other buildings
Yeah.
and who work in different communities, and I'm like, wow, my job is way more fun. Like, Spanaway is just like the place to be. I don't care what.
So I know teachers have been doing a lot of trainings this week. What are you looking forward to this school year?
Oh yes, so many trainings, so
Yeah,
many.
so
Uh,
many.
I'm looking forward to being confronted with new challenges because
Mhm.
even though we've done this already, it's going to be
Yeah,
very different, so
yeah,
different. Um, and so I'm really excited for just the new challenges this will bring up, and like working to overcome them because I honestly feel like, well, yes, this experience is like no one's ideal situation. I feel like for
right.
those of us who really put in the work, we're all going to come out the other side so much better, like better teachers, better students, better people. Like I, I, I've heard students say this, I've heard my coworkers say this, and I've said it so many times. Like, I will never complain about having to go to school ever again. Like,
Right,
I
right. A lot of people say that.
no matter how tired I am on a Monday morning, I'm like, you should be so lucky.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yes, the new challenges. That
Mhm.
definitely together we're gonna make this work. We would
Absolutely.
be interviewing face to face if it weren't for our current situation, but we're making it work and doing Zoom, and I'm glad. I'm
We're going
definitely happy about that.
full
So
on.
a lot of times students ask about our high school experiences. And so I wanted to just get a little tidbit from you about any lessons, valuable lessons that you learned um, from high school. What high school did you go to?
I went to Bonnie Lake High School, so I'm
Okay.
fairly local. Um, yeah, I was such a little weirdo in high school. Nothing has changed. I'm still a little weirdo, just a little taller now. So I in high school, I was like the theater kid. Like if anyone knew me, they knew me like, oh, that's the kid that does theater a lot.
Right.
Yeah. And I would say because of all of that, it like the biggest thing I learned in high school, this came from both positive and negative experiences, was just like being unabashedly you. you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because yeah, I learned like, oh, I think maybe a little differently than some people, and then they thought that that was weird, and then I met my people like, oh,
Mhm.
you guys get me, you think like I do, and those were my theater and arts friends, uh,
Right.
and so we just got to buy, like we came together and we're like, oh yeah, we all just get each other, and those people over there get each other, and that's great, right? And for the most part, it was fairly harmonious, with a few exceptions, but that's a story for a different day.
Well, and so you say weirdo, but I see it as creative. Like
Yeah,
the level of creativity that people that are really involved in the arts, it's like how you process things on the day to day is just, it's just different. I think your level of imagination, how you articulate things, how you kind of go through the motions of the day, I think it's just the overall how you express yourself, that kind of makes you unique from other people that aren't tapped into that creativity. Because I feel like most people have a level of creativity.
yeah, everyone. I mean, everyone does if they want to see it.
If they want to see it and they want to cultivate and express it.
Exactly. Anyone who tells me that like I'm just not creative or don't have imagination, it's like, oh, you just that's part of your brain you don't want to look at right now.
Right.
Can be fine, but in some contexts, we're like, hey, let's tap into that because it's there.
Yeah.
Like the fear of like tapping into creativity also comes from our innate fear of failure. Like if I try to
Hmm.
be creative and I fail at it, then I'm a failure, which is incorrect,
Right.
completely incorrect. Um, but yeah, it also came from me being a very emotional kid, like, and
Hmm.
I'm a very emotional adult. um, yeah, and like my family, we are not emotional people. My mom is English, and my dad was raised as a military brat, so
Yeah.
there was no emotion happening in that household besides like, look how funny this thing is. Uh, I mean, there is now. We've worked on it, but I was just like, things, and they're like, we don't.
And he was looking, they were looking at you like, theater.
Yeah, completely like go back, go
You're
hang
such an actor. You're going to be such an actor.
out. Yeah, oh, shit.
Well, maybe that's what's going to happen with my son. You know, he's almost 4 and he's very emotional.
Mhm.
And I foresee him being an amazing actor and maybe theater teacher in the future. I have to cultivate that
Yeah,
creativity, right?
yeah, and I used to teach theater to preschool age kids, so I'm gonna get.
Oh,
Fun fact about Mr. Hildebrand's life: I taught preschool for a year
wow.
at Village Theater. Well, I was the co-teacher, so I was like the assistant teacher, but I taught at
Right.
Newman for a year.
Oh, that is a fun fact that I might have to tap into for my son because I think there is some like creativity, theatrical thing about how he plays. And it's not something that I've cultivated in myself. So, how we interact, because he's an only child, I have to like tap into like his energy sometimes. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, it's different to go there for me, but it seems just so natural for him. So, we'll have to talk a little bit more after. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you just a whole bunch of different questions. I have my fun little, yeah, got you one too. Um, you could just give me just short answer. It doesn't have to be long at all, and I'll just go through about 10 questions, and we'll end it there.
let's do it.
All right. So when you are afraid, you do what?
Well, as of recently, when I'm afraid, it means, oh, come on, be on camera. We love attention.
You're trying to go.
We get
Hi.
snuggles because she sometimes likes to snuggle when she's in a super
Yeah.
play mode. Right now, she does not want to. I'm
He's
surprised
like,
she's not.
I'm not having it.
Yeah, little bow, your little bow. We get some snuggles.
Hi. So
Which
kitty cuddles.
kitty cuddles are great. I
Yeah.
meditate or do yoga. Like there are some days where I'm just like really nervous and anxious and scared before going into a day of school because of like the lesson I'm teaching. Maybe it's like something new I'm doing or for whatever
Yeah.
reason. So like meditation, yoga, all that good stuff. Because or a breathing exercise I do. I'm trying to remember the numbers that I use. 4, 7, 8, I think they are.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe in for 4, hold for 7, out for 8.
Right.
And that physically, like, it gets your parasympathetic nervous system engaged, which calms
Yeah.
your body down. Also the this one where you breathe in through one nostril,
And then
the other,
alternate.
then out. I learned that from Jonathan Van Ness because he's amazing. They're amazing.
I'm glad you brought up the breathing and the meditation. I am going to be doing a lot of videos on my YouTube channel for mindfulness, and
Yeah.
tons of breathing exercises. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. What, let's see. Wow. Answer this for me. Or just finish the statement. I'm worthwhile because.
Oh, what a great question to ask people. Because how often do people think of that?
Right.
I am worthwhile because oh, it'll take me a second.
But that's okay.
It's like I have the answer. I'm trying to like figure out the way to.
Right.
I don't know. I think I am worthwhile because, yeah, I just offer something that I know other people can't.
Yeah.
And I don't say that to sound like narcissistic or anything. It's because we all have that capacity, where, yes, there are people who have gone through very almost, identical situations to me and have had very similar experiences,
Yeah.
but I'm still me and they're still them. And I'm still always going to bring something to the table that they will not, and vice versa, right? They have, like, why I love, so in the ELA 9 team, currently previously it's been Mr. Baker, Mr. Davis, and myself, and we have a new teacher joining us, Miss Crawford, who we're super excited to have join our team.
Nice.
Yeah, and so we just work so well together. But we work so well together because I noticed this when we went into distance learning. I was like, wow, where I lack, they kind of fill in the gaps, and vice versa,
Right.
And we also just happen to really like each other. We're actually
That's always a bonus.
yeah. But yeah, it's just knowing that, yes, even though there are so many people who have similar experiences to us and exist so similarly to us, there's still nothing can replace you
Right.
and what you do,
Yeah, definitely. I'm talented at.
Oh, I am talented. Do you like how we just said that? Like, I'm talented at so many things.
There it is.
Yeah. I'm a Leo. It comes with the territory. We're just great at everything. I recently have been really good at finishing books. I've been reading so much during all of this COVID-19 since. I've read 31 books this year, which isn't the most I've read in a year. But can I tell you the real tea? My best friend Jordan, she's read over 60. And so whenever I look at them, I'm like, well, I just
wow.
yeah, I know.
That's a lot.
So I've been really good at finishing books recently, which makes me really happy. I also like to think I'm pretty good at making people laugh. And that makes my most happy. Whenever
you do a great job.
Thank you. Also making people groan at my bad puns. And people think that groaning at the puns makes me not want to do them again. And no, you give me more power by groaning.
Oh, okay. That's a good, okay. So straight face when you do puns.
Yeah. Then that'll make them stop.
So, all of us encounter times where we get angry or frustrated. So I control my anger by.
In full disclosure, that's one I'm still really working on.
Yeah.
There's an emotion I have a really tough time with because it's about keeping it in check while also, like, because anger can express itself in so many physical ways that are not
a lot of ways.
And so it's about keeping it. It's about it's like processing it without letting it like consume you. Because I'm a very passionate person. I care a lot about things, and so when I get into like disagreements with people, and if like people just keep pushing my buttons and just like the biggest thing that makes me angry is people who don't listen or like don't hear what I'm saying and you're just waiting. It's like, or some of my family things where it's like my mom interrupts me all the time and my brother too, and like it's just like, brother, mother, stop it. But yeah, so I try to breathe it out, take a couple
Yeah.
deep breaths to refocus, recenter, and then try to process because, again, as a very emotional person, I can react very emotionally in the moment, which again, not productive.
But you're working on it.
Yes, yes, working through that one is a constant thing. Something that also sometimes makes me angry is when that one wakes me up at 5:30 in the morning.
Ooh.
Every morning.
Well, I
Every
mean,
you
I have a toddler, so sometimes he likes to greet me greet me
I
in the morning as well.
yeah, I think you win in that contest always. But it's
Well, we'll see. He may be crashing down my door soon, so
I know. She this morning fully tried to attack my toes at 5:30 because they just happened to be out the blanket. I'm like, we're
you're
not
like, "No, not happening."
you're not doing
Oh, so talking about animals, an animal I am most like
this.
is
Honestly, domestic house cat.
yeah, you're like your cat.
Yeah, because because I my friends for years and years and years before I've only had my cat for 2 months.
Yeah.
Um, and so before that, for years before that, my friends have always just been like, "Oh my gosh, you're such a cat," and it's because I love attention, but on my terms.
Right.
If I don't want you to give me attention, you'll know because
Right.
laws.
Yeah.
Uh, but if you don't give it to me when I want it, then I'm like, "What's the matter with you?" You know, it's just we're human. And yeah, just like because when you for anyone who has a cat, you know that like the when you have a cat, the place of living is theirs, and you just live there. You know,
You're a part of their space now.
exactly.
It's no
And so
longer yours.
she's helped keep that side of me in check a lot. She's helped me be humble.
Forcing you to share.
Yes, which I'm usually really good at, but sometimes I'm not great at sharing. I have to say,
Mm,
I try to
well,
be.
yeah, you're gonna have to work on that one too.
Hey, I do have like 5 friends right now who are all borrowing books from me because I have too many books. That's sharing.
That okay, you're right. Sharing is caring, as I tell my toddler. Sharing is caring.
True.
Let's see. I can achieve my goals by
Ooh, lists. I
oh,
I like to make a list.
okay.
Because there are a few things in this world that are more satisfying than checking if something off a list. Like,
You
and
do
then
a
we're
list for everything?
not everything, but like if it's like
Okay.
a large scale thing, I'm like, okay, we got to do this, 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 and this, and this,
Mm,
and then get to this. And then
okay.
when you do those checks, it's just like, yeah. It's
You're
just like
getting
if you're,
closer.
yeah, because my brain is so just like all the time. Um, and so it's when I need to get something done, we've got to try to reel in parts of it to organize it in some kind of way. So
Right.
let's do this, and then sometimes we do it, and sometimes we try to do it, and sometimes we fail, and it's fine. All of which is great.
Yeah. But you're working towards your goal step by step.
Yeah.
I like that. I might have to steal look at you're teaching me something. I might have to take that as a little note for myself.
Remember that old TV show Step by Step with
Yes.
Dan Summers? Was it Patrick Duffy too?
I don't
It was kind of like a Brady, like a
Mr. Hildebrand, I can't. I no, we're not look at you.
great fun.
Mm, you are so funny. Um, I am helpful to my family when
Ooh, I'm helpful to my family. Um, I'm helpful to my family when when I when I kind of like help them open up dialogues.
okay.
Because like my role in the family has been like, no, we're gonna talk about it.
Mhm.
Y'all don't want to talk about it. We're gonna talk about it so that it can be done, and no one's gonna get mad later on, you know.
Right.
So
So you're
yeah,
the family meeting
kinda
member. Yeah.
the mediator, if you will.
The mediator. It's
Yeah.
an important role in a family.
Oh my gosh, for because there are times. Oh yeah, yeah. Stories for different days.
Different days, another time. Maybe part two of an interview.
Yeah.
The person I most admire is
Oh, person I most admire. That's a really hard question because I like collect lists of people who I just like love and adore.
Right. Well,
You
because as you talked about earlier, because we all have these unique things about us.
know?
So,
Yeah, and I
yeah.
cultivate like, things I love from people. Like, oh, I like this about you. I want to try to be like that. I like
Hmm.
this about you. And then it gets into like celebrities who I just like love the things they do. You know?
Yeah.
So, like there's that part of things
So there's
too.
multiple layers.
Because the first thing I said when I thought of that was, weirdly enough, it was Anne Hathaway. Because recently I've been in a big Anne Hathaway movie kick from the mid to early 2000s. Because those were like my childhood, my favorite thing, and she was my idol. Uh,
But so I think I went to 90s. Was Princess Diaries?
it was like 2001, two, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe
That was one of my favorites.
it's still, if people ask me what's one of your favorite movies of all time, Princess Diaries, one and two. They're both
I
great.
know. I know. True confession. Oh my gosh, everybody's gonna know.
Yeah, and you should say it proudly. That movie is phenomenal. I've watched it three.
Princess Diaries.
I've watched it 3 times in the past 4 months.
Okay, I feel better.
Both of them. I watched Ella Enchanted last night. No apology.
I have not seen that one.
It's
I haven't seen that one.
super silly and cute. It's a Cinderella retelling.
Okay,
It's a look.
I'll have to check that one out.
It's really cute.
Let's see. I do best in school. So teachers,
Ooh.
students, families, we still do school and education. So when we sit in space and we're students, how do you do best in school?
Yeah, I feel like I do best in school when I feel like both myself and my time are being respected and honored.
Yeah.
I feel like there have been some, like, this wasn't run through a district or anything at all, but there was a training I did in June through a different thing that I just really felt like the instructor, um, yeah, was not, she just wasn't respectful of, yeah, the student's time, I don't think, which then told me
Yeah.
that she wasn't respectful of us. And thought she was like, she had all this knowledge and then just, we are so lucky to have from her. And I'm like, no, 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 no.
Right.
Like when there's a sense of like the feeling of teacher student makes me really
Hmm.
comfortable because I don't always like being told what to do, and this feels like being told what to do.
Yeah.
So my goal as a teacher and whenever I'm a student, what I hope is that it's more of this, where
Right.
the teachers and students are collaborating together to access knowledge, you know? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, whenever I feel like someone is working with me to help me learn, um, and coming from a place of humility and coming from a place of just like, my only job is to help you. That's all I'm here to do.
Hmm.
I think that is the most valuable thing.
Love that. I appreciate that, you recognize when you're in situations as a student and then you're reflective of your teaching practice. So it's like, okay, this is what not to do, or this is something I need
Yeah,
to possibly tweak to make the experience better for my students in my classroom. I like that.
totally. Because I think the way we've all learned about school is that like historically it's always been this, right? It's been
Mhm.
like teachers are the authority and students just sit down and listen. Which goes against everything in my being of what feels right, you know.
Right.
Um, and because I worked, so coming from working in the theater world, where literally everything is completely collaborative. Yes, you have the director.
Yes.
Yeah, the director is steering the ship, but everyone has to work together
Hmm.
to put it on. And when there are shows, so I've been a part of shows and I've heard of shows where there is like people who are extra feeling themselves. Fun fact: no one wants to work with them ever again. Right?
Mm.
Friends of mine who worked professionally in New York told me some stories about some famous people that wouldn't mean nothing to our students. They wouldn't know who they
Right.
were. But like Laura Linney, I've heard Laura Linney is terrible to work with.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
That's too bad.
I know.
That's really too bad because it's hard work. Those jobs are really, really hard. So to not collaborate, and that, in our community, it's like if you don't collaborate and connect, it seems like it just makes your job so much harder in the classroom.
So much harder because if I'm not wanting to work with somebody, then it's just like, then it's literally just going to be like butting heads all the time.
Right.
So, which I mean, it just like, for me personally, it's just, that's not a place I want to ever live or be. It makes me super uncomfortable and anxious. So if I can avoid any kind of, like, I don't love conflict, guys.
I would have never pegged you for that. I know you
No,
don't.
fun fact, I love laughing a lot and I hate arguing.
And that's why I love you, because we laugh a lot.
Me
So
too.
much fun. Let's see. We've got two more questions. Hmm. Ooh, when things don't go my way,
Okay, I feel very called out right now.
I mean, I'm not trying to call you out. It's just a question on my list, Mr. Hildebrand.
She wrote it in on the side, like,
No.
No, I'm a youngest child, and sometimes stereotypes.
Sorry, that says a lot. Did you see my face? I was like, oh, that explains.
Yeah. And so as a younger child, there are some stereotypes that I'm like, that is untrue, not at all. How dare you? And some I'm like, begrudgingly agree with.
Yeah.
There are so many times in my life when I literally don't care. I'm like, sure, whatever we do, and that's fine. But whenever it is something that I'm like, no, we should do this or this or this or this, and I'm like steadfast in that opinion, and then everyone else says no, I'm just like, I kind of just sit with it and just say, I don't like this feeling, and that's fine. It will pass. And then remind myself that usually the things in those kinds of moments are things that don't really matter.
Yeah.
But then it's always harder when it's those like larger scale things of like X, Y, or Z. I sometimes have youngest child syndrome.
I mean, we'll talk more. We'll talk more.
Yeah.
I'm loving that. I'm like, I should be taking, oh wait, no, we're recording this. So now I can just play it back and remind you that you said this, right?
You're like, you admitted to it. And now like,
you admitted to it.
I would never say that on camera.
Okay, I can help others in my school by, so this could be students, families, staff, whoever.
So something that I'm working on as a person and as an educator and someone who just works anywhere, listening. Because in case you didn't notice by this interview yet, I talk a lot. And I hear my cat in the background going weird. It's fine.
We can't hear her at all. Well, I can't hear her.
Okay, great. I sure can. Do you know when cats like chatter at birds, like their jaws going?
But now I feel like you're avoiding the question.
I'm sorry. That wasn't on purpose. She was distracting me. So what was it? Oh, listening. See, again, talking so much talking. My favorite, one of my favorite like proverbs is, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like listening is twice as important as talking, which I think is so real. Or it's because it's like in situations like, let's say I am like there was something like I want to talk to a friend about something, like I'm feeling a certain kind of way, and I just need to talk to somebody. Oftentimes, not always, they'll be like, okay, but then there's this and this and this. And it's like, I just need you to hear that I'm feeling some kind of way and that it's okay. Right. I guys need you to like sit here with me and like talk to me without trying to fix it, because nothing you can say will fix it.
Right.
So and I try to do that. And I'm someone who oh my gosh, you hurt. You heard that, right?
Is she okay?
Oh, she's totally fine, but she's
okay.
Messing with my blood.
I mean, I didn't know, because she has like that beautiful, I see the top of her. Okay, I see her. Mm-hmm.
She's such a pain.
She wants the attention.
Just like her dad.
Wants the attention.
But yeah, so listening just for the sake of listening, not listening to then be like, well, here's what you can do with that. Like sometimes I just want people to know that I feel bad, and I just want you to sit here and let me feel bad.
Yeah.
Because I think we try to true. Our society just says sadness is a bad thing, or like sadness or anger or frustration, like these like negative emotions are not good, but they exist for a reason, you know?
Hmm.
Like they're there to protect ourselves. Our brain, it's a real like thing, it's a real device our brain uses
Yeah.
to regulate itself and protect itself and all that stuff. So
And it's
and then
just how we process those feelings.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's so important. You can learn so like that's why I love the movie Inside Out. You can learn so much from sadness.
Oh, I love that movie.
Weep
Oh my gosh.
uncontrollably
Oh
weep
my
at that
gosh.
movie. Bing bong. Oh my god, bing bong.
Oh my gosh. Okay. On that note, I appreciate you spending this time with me. I love seeing your gorgeous face. I love hearing your laughter. You always bring me so much joy, even when we're in Zoom space together. And so, again, thank you so much.
I love you so much. It's crazy. I think you're the best. Our school, here's the thing, everybody. Our school is so lucky to have Miss Vester. You guys have no, our school is, we have Miss Vester, you are phenomenal. Our school is so lucky. Seriously. So lucky.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hildebrand. All right. So, good luck this year. And if you need anything, you know where I'm at. All
Always.
right. Bye.